I'm Katie, and thank you for coming to my talk. I'm a psychic medium that has studied at the Arthur Findlay College for more than 20 years now. Keep going back for more training, learning, because I totally believe that you can never know everything. You don't stop learning, and when you stop, you rot. I have published 2 books and I've created 2 decks of oracle cards. I created the first one in 2015, and the reason was I had many decks that I was using when I was reading, and I mainly used them as a point of focus, but I used them for myself because I couldn't read for myself. I know that might shock some of you, but when I read for myself, I tell myself that everything is going to be fine. I tell myself what I want to hear instead of telling myself what I really need to know. And the cards don't lie. So when I use the cards, they tell me what I need to know. And they're very direct and they're very blunt. And I'm going to use them on anyone that's willing to have a reading during this session after I do the tutorial. So I will be doing free readings for people that are here. And I'll ask you to ask whatever questions you need to ask, and I will help with some guidance. But the first thing I want to talk about is what this talk was advertised about, is how can you become more psychic? How can you grow and become more intuitive? No matter what level you're at, how do you get to the next level? And that was a question I used to ask myself. I was never happy where I was. I was like, I've got to be better. I've got to be something for everyone. I've got to do the best job that I could. So I was always trying to improve. And so in going off and doing courses and learning. And then my teacher over in the UK, and I had many of them, but one of them said, "What are you doing here?" And he called me Miss Oz. "What are you doing here? You don't need this anymore." And I said, "But every time I come, you stretch me that bit further and I learn." And whilst I was there, I would write down all the things that I was learning so I could go back and teach everyone else, because not everyone else could take off time to fly to the UK and spend a week or 2 weeks in a course learning and then come back to their lives. And luckily I had a husband, and still have, that could look after the children while I went off on my flights of fancy, doing my hobby, as it was put, and really learn and keep learning. So what I want to teach you is how you can get to the next level. And the first thing that I would say is, most of you will feel a calling to work with spirit. Put your hand up if you've felt that calling. Yes, many of you. And so do you know that feeling feels like this unease, like there's something missing, there's something more to life, there's something else I have to do, and you keep looking for what that is. And when you're going through that calling, you'll notice signs and synchronicities. You'll notice that you'll keep seeing little signs that tell you that you're doing the right thing, you're on the right path, this is what you're meant to be doing. You'll see little synchronicities. But what you're doing when you're doing your training is learning how to communicate with spirit. You're learning another language. We all have to learn how spirit wants to talk to us. So if I said to you, I'll use you for example, what does a butterfly mean to you?
Transformation.
Transformation, right. And if I asked you, what does a butterfly mean to you when you see one?
A sign from spirit.
Sign from spirit. And Donna?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay. Has anyone else got a different meaning for the butterfly?
I'm listening.
Yes, another one. Now, my meaning for the butterfly was freedom. I'd look out the window, see a butterfly, and it was flying around, and it didn't have a mortgage. It didn't have to worry about putting fuel in the car. It just had this freedom. Didn't know it was going to die as far as I knew, and just was hanging out with all these beautiful flowers. And to me, that was freedom. But it's like languages. In French, the word cheese is fromage. In our language, it's cheese. So when you learn to speak with spirit, what you're learning is how they're speaking to you. So I advise my students to get a book, a journal, and learn how you're communicating and how Spirit's communicating with you. And so in the back of my journal, I wrote, when you show me a butterfly, it means freedom. And then I advise my students to write, when you show me, and then I put butterfly and what it means. And they would do that because in Iceland and Russia and Greece and all those other countries, the word for butterfly is a different word, but it's still a butterfly. So it's about finding how the spirit world wants to talk to you. Who knows what blocks you from progressing? Does anyone know? Yes?
Yourself.
That's exactly right. And the main other thing that blocks you is fear. So I have people come to me and they say, I want to get ahead, but I don't know how. And I'll say, well, what's stopping you? Oh, I'm scared of getting it wrong. That's the first thing. What if I get it wrong? What if I stuff someone else's life up with what I say? What's another fear that you might have that stops you from progressing? Has anyone got an idea? Yes?
That once you open up, they'll be like there all the time and you can't switch them off.
Ah, that's a really good one. So your space is invaded. Once you open up, they're not going to leave you alone. They're going to be there. Who gets woken up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m? Yes. That's a good time. You know what they do? They go, oh, look, she's finally settled down. She's finally gone quiet. We can get through now. Let's just wake her up and have a party. And so you're waking up and you got all these thoughts in your head and you're going, wow, all I want to do is sleep. I've got a baby, or I've got this. I've got to get up in the morning. I want to sleep. And they're going, but you know why we're waking you now? And you go, no. Well, you didn't meditate. You didn't give us time to talk to you. You've been so busy doing everything else. This is the only time we can get through. So come on, we're waking you up and we're going to talk to you now. So meditating, finding time for spirit is another way of developing because it allows you to connect with spirit. Now, there are signs that tell you when you are connected, and finding those signs is really easy once you know what they are. But I'll just put a few notes up for you. The first thing that happens when you get into this is you feel a calling. A wanting to be with spirit, a wanting to help people. Who here has been out there in the public and all of a sudden seen someone and felt they needed to give a message and need to pass it on? Yes. Now, who believes that they should do that? Okay. I'm going to tell you something different. I found after I was doing that not everyone was open to you coming up and saying, oh, I just need to tell you that your grandmother wants you to know this. Guess what happens? Some people aren't open to it and they write you off as a Fruit Loop. It doesn't work. And I teach my students, it's like going through someone's underwear drawer and finding all the little secrets that they have in there, because people don't want you to look unless you're asked to. So one of the rules I have for my students that protects them is don't look unless you're asked to look, because you're invading their privacy if you do. So you wait to be asked, or you sound them out as to if they're open to it. So when I had no confidence and I had fear of getting it wrong, what I used to do was put it into a conversation. I'd make them think that they'd already told me something, that they had confided in me and I was just giving it back to them. And that way, you know, you've got to be really careful, because a few times I got busted and I got found out, and then, you know, it wasn't really good. My husband asked me one night, he said, we're going to dinner with this developer. Can you just check him out, see if we should be working together? And he said, but don't do that thing you do. And I said, what's that thing? He says, don't make him cry. I said, I'm not going to make him cry. I said, do you want me to do this or not? And he goes, yes, I just need to know if I can trust this person. So we're sitting down to dinner and I'm sitting there and I'm talking away to him, and all of a sudden his grandmother's behind him, standing there as clear as anything. And I'm looking at the grandmother and I'm going, And she's looking at me and going like this. And I looked at my husband and he's going, and he can't see the grandmother, but he can see what I'm doing. And so I started putting things into a conversation, and I started saying things as if he knew what that he'd told me. And then I went a step too far. And he said, "How do you know that? I've never told anyone that. You can't possibly know that." And he started to look a little bit frightened. And my husband said, "I'm going to get a drink." Stomps away and he shakes his head. He said, "I told you not to do that." And he goes, "Told you what? Not to do what?" And he goes, "Oh, my wife's just a little bit special." And he goes, "What does he mean by that?" Oh, and he goes, "A little bit psycho." And he's looking at me, and it's a family joke. I don't take it personally. And he says, tell me. And I said, "Look, I'm a psychic." I said, "But I don't really normally do this at places like this." And he goes, "Oh, I'm really interested." Now, here's the clue I knew he'd be interested. His grandmother would not have shown up if he wasn't open to it. And so I did the reading. And my husband came back, and this man was crying. And his first words were, "I told you not to make him cry." And he sat down like this. And I said, "I'm so sorry." And he goes, "No, it's all good. It's all good. This is the best night of my life." And he was so happy. And that is why we do this job, to deliver messages, to help bring joy, to prove that there is life after death. Now, getting over your fear involves trust. It involves believing in you. If you don't believe in you, no one else will. If you don't believe that you're connected to spirit, you won't be connected to spirit. So you need to trust you. You need to believe you. You need to notice the signs that they're around you. And the synchronicities. Isn't that a long word? So the butterfly turning up can be a visitor. When my father was dying, we asked him to show us a sign. And he pointed to a painting that had a little yellow butterfly on it. And he couldn't talk, and we went over and got it, and he pulled it off and he placed it on the hospital gown. And we said, "Is that the sign you're going to show me?" And he goes, "Yes." And my daughter said, "No, Granddad, I want you to show me a feather." So when he died, the people where he worked reported all these yellow butterflies all around the entrance to the building. And when my daughter, who'd gone home, my husband went to tell her, and he took her outside to the fountain where the fish were, and it was all calm. And she started screaming, and he looked down, and she goes, "Granddad's here, Granddad's here." And he said, "I never saw an effing bird anywhere, but the biggest feather in the world dropped down on her foot." He said, "I couldn't work out why she was screaming." And he was so shocked. He was like, that word just popped out. And I went, "You didn't say that in front of Chloe, did you?" And he goes, No. And he said, "Was that really your dad?" And I go, "Yeah." He told her he'd show her a feather, and he did. So if you have loved ones that you want to know about a sign, don't wait till they're dying to ask them. Set it up now to find out. The other thing you've got to do is practice. Practice on friends, practice on anyone that's willing to let you practice. If you practice, you get confidence and you get better. Believing and trusting. You may not know how it works, but you have to trust that it does work. By trusting it works, it will work. I don't know how a plane stays up in the sky, but I trust that it will. I get on that plane even though I know that there's a chance it won't. We would not fly if we didn't do that. I don't trust that something will happen sometimes. But when I hop in my car, I have to trust that the people on the other side are going to stay on their side and not come onto my side. When you're working with spirit, you have to trust that you are communicating with them. And I do exercises with my students where I teach them how to feel the energy when they're in spirit. And it's an important thing. And I teach online, so you're welcome to learn that way. So it's not just trust, but it's trusting you, it's trusting in others, and just connecting and building your confidence. Now, I'm going to open up to any questions because I want to have time to also do these readings for you and demonstrate. Is there any questions about anything I've asked or anyone that's struggling with anything at the moment? Yes.
My question's probably more about boundaries. When to trust, obviously, you have to trust your boundaries. So how can you trust your boundaries if you can't physically see them, if you get what I mean? Boundaries, so when you're connecting, that you are connecting with who you are intending to connect to and not having drop-in.
Okay, so part of connecting is setting the intention. You ask for what you want. If you don't set the intention, it doesn't happen. If I intend to go to the shop, I will. It's a choice still, but I will. So you set an intention of who you want to connect with. You ask, connect to that spirit, and then you trust that it is them. Okay? That's what it is. You also need to ground and protect yourself. If you don't ground and protect yourself, you're opening yourself up to many things. So intention is a big thing. It's the main key, intention. And that's a great question. Boundaries also are when I start for the day, I not only do a meditation, but in that meditation, it's a meditation for intention. People meditate for many reasons. You can meditate for world peace. You have monks that might meditate for hours on end. My meditations take 5 minutes for me to start the day. I set the intention that I want to be connected for the day. I also give gratitude and thanks for them connecting with me. And I make sure that I say who I want to connect to. I want to connect to my guides and helpers from the highest source of all that is good. I also do a protection where I put myself in a bubble. And all of that information is in this book. I teach you how I connect, how I protect myself, how I move forward. The main reason I wrote this book was I wanted proof. I said, well, people tell me this is so, but I need to prove it. And so the experiences where I set out to prove how things work are all in that book. And then as I got better and started working more, I wrote the second book because that taught me how to increase my powers, how to go to places where I'm going to be energized and go to the next level. And the boundaries you need to put in so that you don't go too far. I did one day, I went to a temple and I set the intention I wanted to go the next level and beyond. And the next day I was sick in bed and I was sick for days because I took on more energy than my body was capable of taking. So you need to set those boundaries in that state that you remain well and healthy at the same time. Does that all make sense to you? Yeah? Any questions before I start? Yes?
If you go to just out for dinner, like you said, do you protect yourself each time you go somewhere in case something happens like happened at your dinner?
I'm actually quite lazy. I do a blanket protection that's going to last me a long time. I just keep doing that. I mainly protect when I'm going to connect. I am not connected all the time. I connected that night because my husband asked me to check him out. But if I was going out, I'm not connected. I write in my book that being connected all the time is like leaving the gas on. You're going to run out. There has to be an energy exchange as well. I don't care if you're working for pineapples or fruitcakes. You need to have an energy exchange because each time you do a reading, you are putting energy out, but you're not taking anything in. Everything is energy. So look at all energy is everything, whether they give you a lift somewhere, whether they, babysit for you or do something, there has to be an exchange of energy, because a lot of psychics get ill and get sick. And it's because they're depleting their energy all the time. They're letting it out without having the exchange. So there needs to be that sort of exchange. Is there any more questions before I start? Yes?
Just a little bit curious. I've got family that are around me at the moment. I've got a lot of death dates, birth dates, and I keep getting a message with Cat Stevens. I'm not sure who's it from, because
Okay, so she's wanting to know how to identify who is sending the message, because she has a lot of family around, but she gets a message from Cat Stevens, and it's his songs. So, yeah. Okay, so if you're not certain about who it's for, you need to then find out who liked Cat Stevens or the message within the song. Yep. So this is a really good question, because this also comes down to people wanting to name their guides. And what they do is, I don't name my guides or the people sending the messages. I just take the message. Because you can have lots of guides and angels, but you might have the guide that has a strength in... One of your guides might have been an engineer, say, and another one might have been a doctor. If you call on just the engineer, but you've got to deal with someone that's got a medical issue, you need the doctor. So I call on my spirit team, and I let them choose who's going to deliver the information so that I get the right information. Because when people come to psychics, they expect you to know everything. They expect you to be the hairdresser, the engineer, the doctor, the boilermaker. They expect you to be the lost and found psychic. Oh, Katie's here. She can find those keys you lost in 1939. They expect you to do everything. But if we go to our doctor is not going to fix our car. And each one of you will have a specific gift that you will excel at and be good at and have the energy to do really, really well. And that's where you focus on it. So people will come to me and they go, can you find this? I might be able to pinpoint an area, but they still got to go and find it. I'm not going over there to find it. I've got a life. But, this is what you've got to accept, that people will want you to do things, but you may not have that capability, and you need to be honest and say, well, that's not my speciality, but I can help you with this. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up to fail. So take it that your family, your loved ones, are giving you the message, because that's who they're talking to, and take the message, but don't get hung up about who's giving it to you, because they all love you. No, they're all around you. They're all around you. And, some people will be animal communicators and some people will have other strengths. But let's now open it up to guidance and questions. I don't mind if you're asking a personal question. Just know this is being recorded and this isn't the Jerry Springer show. So I won't be direct and embarrass you. So it may come across that the answer's a little bit broad, because you don't want to air your dirty linen now, and it is being recorded. So I'm going to use both decks and to demonstrate how they work and how they can talk to you. And really, the decks are a point of focus. My readings, when I do them, I actually read your palms, I channel a whole lot of information, I write it all down, I deliver it to you, and I only use the cards just as a point of focus at the end, so that you can confirm what I'm telling to you, but also so that people just love looking at them. They like seeing that, wow, that card came out. One lady asked me today if she was lucky, and the good luck card came out. The only good luck card in the 53 deck. So, it blows my mind. They'll be asking a work question and the work card comes out. I've got subjects in them. So who wants to be brave and ask a question? And I've got if I point to you, can you come down to me rather than me come out of the camera range and ask your question? But I'll do the easy thing first, and I'll start here.
I lost a morganite pendant in my car. Will I find it?
A morganite pendant in your car, will you find it? I feel like it's tucked away, Donna. I'm not the lost and found psychic, but I know it's, you were having a go. But it is still there, yes. I do feel that. And I will pull a card, and by doing that, what I'm going to do when I do pull a card is I knock Donna's energy in. I know her name's Donna because I have seen her. She's got a badge on. I'm not going to my best friend or anything like that. But yeah, I'm going to pull a card, but first I'll knock her energy in, and then if it's a negative card, it's no, and if it's a positive card, it's yes. So let's see where the cards go. Tapping Donna's energy in. Yes. So go looking before someone else finds it. Okay, easy.
So I've been trying to communicate with my husband. We've been together for 30-something years. I believe there's a different way to communicate with him. He's lost. So I'd like to have some direction on communicating with him a bit more.
Okay, so do you feel how he feels? Did you all hear that? She wants to know how she can communicate with her husband. Okay. Okay, right. So she has been communicating with her husband, but now she feels she can't communicate with him. So he's alive, and she wants to know how to communicate with him better. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to show you how the cards work. So your name?
Joanne.
This is Joanne. For Joanne, better ways for her to communicate with her husband. Now, when I pull them, I don't pull from the top or the bottom in case there's a run of cards and I'm a bad shuffler. I encourage you to cherry pick them from anywhere within the deck. He's out of his comfort zone right now. We've got this take a leap, and you're nodding, and you don't have all the information. See, the person's in the dark, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but this is a shadow leaping from one edge of a cliff to another. And with him, you have to find a way, possibly over the phone where he's trapped, and you can get him that way, would be better. True that? Yeah, that would be your best way, so that he can't get away. Okay? Otherwise, he'll walk away while you're trying to talk to him. He does, exactly. Okay, who else has got a question? Yes.
So when I was younger, I had like psychic abilities, and I've kind of compressed them, and now I'm trying to unlock them. So I'm just wanting to know if I'm going in the right direction.
Did you all hear that? Yes, okay. Yes, you are going in the right direction. You used to is a myth. You still have those powers. I can see it in your aura. There's gold right above your head. You've got some green on the right there. There's some new things coming in for you. There's going to be many changes for you. This year is your year of change and a year of things happening. Your name, sorry?
Monica.
I'm going to tap Monica's energy into this card deck here, and I'm going to ask you what your direction for this year is. And it says this year is about nurturing you and those in your life and believing in you and going through life with grace and ease instead of looking for the difficulty and looking for the hard things. You haven't lost it. It is still there. It just needs you to just go within. And also, sometimes when our gifts are really strong and they're there, we think they're not there because we got used to them. Does everyone remember those massive sandals that had the spikes on the bottom and you walked on them? And they hurt like anything when you first got them. And then after about 3 months of torture, you didn't even know that those things were digging into your heels because you got used to it. And that's like our gift. When it first comes, you get this big whoosh and you think, wow, this is good. How do I do this again? And then after you're doing it a lot, you don't even feel the change. It just happens. And that's what's happening with you. So worrying is wishing for what you don't want. And when you worry about it all the time, what you're doing is the universe goes, geez, she won't stop banging on about this. She must really want it. Let's just give her some more of it. And more doubt comes to you because you're doubting yourself and you're thinking about how you doubt yourself. It is fear. Yep. Yeah. Fear and grounding and protecting yourself is so important. If you don't do that, then fear will be there because lower energies will come in. Okay? Lower energies. Anyone else? You got to come to me. I'm going to let you hold the microphone. Away from the speaker. All right.
So we've been looking at land to put our tiny home on, and we've looked at a few, and we've sort of narrowed it down, and I'm just wondering if the one that we're thinking of picking is the right one.
Your name?
Kate.
This is for Kate. I've put Kate's energy in, and now I'm shuffling the question. Anything that pops out,
Any cards that pop out before I shuffle the question in, that's called lousy shuffling or spam, okay? Because you've got to tell the cards what you want to know. So I'm saying, is the land that Kate's looking at the best land for her tiny home, for her high school? Yes. And I'm pulling 3 cards. You have a partner? Yeah. Yep, the partner came out first. You need to listen more. Normally I'd let you pick them out, but I'm going to be quicker. I think there's going to be challenges with this block. I got the challenge card. You already know of some of them. I think you need to look further afield. I'm sorry, but that's my opinion. I got negative cards come out of that. I just got the health card as well. I think you can change this if you do a healing on the block. But right now the energy's not right on that block. And there's congestion and blocked. You got the card that says challenges and delays. So that can be from getting it on there and finding that the builder gets sick or something happens. If you clean up the energy first, you'll be able to get through it a lot easier, but there will be challenges. Clearing up, you need to put salt around the perimeter, stand in the middle, beam out white light and ask for the whole lot to be protected and cleared. Okay? And I would also give an offering to the land by taking some crystals there. Just get the little cheap little ones and take them and bury them in the land. Okay?
But the land could be good if we do that.
It could be good if you do that. But right now the energy's not right. Okay? Happy?
Yeah.
Big hand down there, babe. No, 5 minutes? 10 minutes. Okay, I got 10 minutes. You nearly got an answer.
Is the current connection that I'm in going to be long term? Kim.
Kim wants to know if the current connection that she's in long term, she's with Telstra at the moment, and she wants to know if it's going to be long term. Can I have an initial so we're not connecting to Telstra? Yeah, you can. It'd be best. Okay, so we're just going to check. I have the initial in my ear. It's Z. No, it's not. I'm going to check now to see if this is going to be a long-term connection. And what I'm going to ask is it the right connection for her for her highest good? The first card I got is the loose ends card. There's still a disconnect there, and we still have to bring things together for this to work long term. You understand? You're nodding, yeah. The next card I got is the masculine card. And so she's asking about that, and this has come up, so that's a good sign. And the third card is have patience, will take time. And that's how this relationship has been going. It has been taking time, and she's nodding her head and laughing. And this is going to be a hard fish to catch. And you've been very patient, but you still have some way to go. I always say, like, I had a lady come to me and she said, will I be with my husband forever? And my answer was, unless you start smacking him across the head while he's sleeping, yeah, things should go good. If you keep things the way they are now, they will stay good. But if you start doing something negative, no, they won't. You still have to take responsibility for the guidance that you receive. So, yeah, you can make this work, but it's patience. If you reel him in too quick, he's going to run. You know that. She's nodding furiously. Okay, who else? Okay, I've got to go down the back. Do you want to run it down quickly? White shirt, yeah, you. And then the next one behind that's holding up the big, you can go next if you want to come running down.
My name's Rhiannon. I've never been in like a relationship before, and I just want to know if I am giving the energy that I'm ready to accept someone in my life for that to happen, really.
Okay, so we're going to change the language. We don't want to just suggest anyone. Anyone want to be with her? No? Okay. We want to have someone, the right person, the best person, for you. So again, it's how you ask the question. If you are very broad and you ask it the wrong way, you're going to get the wrong answer or a broad answer. So we want a loving, permanent, the right one for your highest good. That's how we'll ask the question. One yes and one no card. We got the yes card, guys. 53 cards. You saw I did not look. How could I even find it like that? Yes. You're ready. There is someone going to come, and you just have to get out there. Okay? You're very welcome. Next. We'll go the front, and then we'll have one from the back.
I'm open to a career change. Can you give me guidance around what would best suit me and my soul purpose, please? Renee.
So Renee wants to change career. She's not totally unhappy where she is. She just thinks there's more to life, correct? Yep. And she's in software at the moment, did you say? No? I heard software. Are you thinking about software? Okay, so we're going to look at, the question is going to be for Renee, is it right for her to change her career right now for her highest good? Renee, you're a healer. You should be working with people, and working with people, even though some of them get on your nerves, that would be a good thing for you. I got the family, the community, the comfort, the stability card, and it's about helping others. That's the industry you should be in because you're a healer. When people are healers, if they are not working in a healing industry, they feel unfulfilled. Right? Can I see your palm quickly? Okay, so you're very psychic. You've got a huge psychic cross. You've got lots of healing lines of stigmata that's there. You overanalyze everything to death. You're good at expressing yourself. You love in a very balanced way, but you have the tendency to martyr yourself. Your headline wants to go down into the intuitive creative area, but yeah, you're overanalyzing things. You worry like crazy. Oh my gosh, you could worry for China. And you are super sensitive. You've got a girdle of Venus there, which means that you get easily hurt and you hold things in. Does that all make sense? Totally, yeah? Okay. Yeah, there can be a career change. In the next 2 years, I do see you doing something else. But you're going to go slowly into it because you need to eat. Does that make sense? You keeping the money flowing. Yeah, she's not sure whether she wants to eat, guys. But anyway, she agrees with everything so far. You have a question? Hello.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you. I would like to know if hopefully will I find the mother of my uncreated child or any partner.
Okay, so he's looking for a mother for his child and a partner. I'm just going to ask the cards. Unborn child. Your name?
Damon.
Sorry?
Damon.
Damon.
Like Damon, but better.
Okay, it's for Damon. Okay, so we got the card, you can do this, it's going to happen. We have a child on a push bike. He asked about the mother for his unborn child. And we have a male standing behind supporting. Yes, you will. And I feel that it'll be in the next 18 months. And you're encouraged to go for it. You need to get into the areas of, go to the places where you have an interest so you can meet like-minded people. But there's a card there with a child on a bike. So yes, you will.
Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, who have I got next? Anyone in the middle or big hand there, and then the white jacket here next. Thank you. What's your name?
Sophie. Is it in my best interest to be at university right now?
Sophie wants to know best interest to be at university. Great question. Let's ask this question. I'm going to say yes straight off the bat. Okay. Probably not what you want to hear, but anyway, we're going to go there. Is it for Sophie's best interest to be at university right now?
That's spam.
No, not spam. I'd finish the question. Tells me a lot about Soph, though. You're not going to like this.
Now, I don't tell you what you want to hear, I tell you what you need to hear. The first card that came out was the Shattered Heart, and that talks about Soph being overwhelmed. She's really struggling. She's finding it hard to cope, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
The second one is the card of children, which is the card of fun. Children, how you understand this card is if children aren't having fun, they say, you're not my friend anymore. You know, they're not going to play with you. They're pretty blunt. And you're not having fun, correct?
Yes.
And the third card is the study card. One card in the whole deck, and there it is. Can you see it?
Yes. Yes.
So what's that telling you?
I need to be at uni.
Yes, but I do feel you're going to change one of your courses, and that will make things better for you, okay?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming up. One study card, 53 cards that came up. Now, everyone, I've just got the You're Out of Time card. It's just been held up down the back, and I have to say thank you for being a wonderful audience, being there. I wish I could help more of you. I am doing readings at my stand. I also have boxes of books because my husband has decided we're downsizing, decluttering, and he says, you don't need the books anymore. All the books that I cut my teeth on, learnt, all the psychic books, hard to get books. Some of them are worth $90, some of them worth $70. They're all going for $10 because he says he's not putting more bookshelves into the new place. So I'm releasing them with joy to everyone, so they're there. You can also book a reading, but there's not a lot of time spots left. I book out quickly. If you're interested in the Modern Oracle decks and the books, come and see me, and we have them there, and we'll give you $5 off each deck for being a wonderful audience. So I would love to see you all come and see me, and thank you so much for being so good.